Welcome, guys. More Legacy on the channel. You know the drill. We love to see it. Let's get into the deck at hand. Today, I'm going to be playing some Sultai Beanstalk. The reason for that is that I'm a control player at heart. I love the challenge of stabilizing, turning the corner, grinding out the opponent. I love the basically just looking at the metagame, trying to build a competitive deck, taking that on as a challenge. Recently, I did that with the Jeskai Wizards deck that I was very successful with. I have, 5-0'd leagues, 5-0'd legacy LCQ for the box, and just overall, I just loved how that kind of fit the boxes I wanted to check into the current field. So I'm trying to do that again today. I'm less confident about that, I will say, but I think this deck has a lot going for it. So first of all, let's talk about Up the Beanstalk. Up the Beanstalk is a draw engine that will give you inevitability in a longer game. So this means that we should focus our deck on actually making it to a longer game. So how do we do that? We play 0-mana interaction like Force of Will and Endurance. We play generic stuff like Thoughtseize and Wasteland, and then we round out our deck with removal spells and finishers alongside the cantrips, right? So Endurance is awesome if the top of the metagame is Reanimator, Tempo, that kind of stuff. It's less awesome if the top of the metagame is, stompy decks like Chalice or just Ancient Tomb decks in general. So Endurance is kind of a polarized card, but at the end of the day, it's still a 3-4 that can, win the game. So we get a little bit of an incidental win con alongside handling a very, very important part of the format. So mana base wise, I have a couple of Wastelands. They combo nicely with Witherbloom Command, which also conveniently is good against Tamiyo, Chalice for 1. Big metagame players right now. My mana base is very dual heavy. I have a single Sanctuary for grinding potential, mainly recurring the Bargain. I have a single Surveil land for those kind of situations where I have that luxury. Because at the end of the day, this deck is going to be playing a lot on curve. This deck is going to tap out a lot, and this deck is trying to also put away the opponent before too many bad things happen. Murktide Regent is the finisher, triggers Beanstalk, is blue, is awesome against combo decks and Ancient Tomb. And then I have triple Bowmasters. Sure, I would love to fit at 4th, but I think 3 is fine. It's basically to check opposing Bowmasters, and that card is not on an all-time high right now, so I can kind of justify that. Sideboard-wise, I think Consigns and Hydroblasts are, just very mandatory right now. Many, between Forge, Eldrazi, and then all the crossover from Consign. I love that card a lot. A couple of Hydros. Blood Moon is a big enemy of this deck, so I hope I don't face that card too often. Triple Negation, Hedging against Combo, and aforementioned Blood Moon. A couple of Edicts, because we're super bad against, what's the card? Kaito. And then a little bit of, Merid Lage crossover in our non-white control deck. Some Vigors, blow up some Sagas, do some shenanigans against Painter, all of that jazz. A couple of Carpets here, part of the plan against any Days deck. And then a single Wasteland to round it out because, you might face lands, Cloud Posts, Mystic Forge, whatever the case may be, and third Wasteland could easily come in handy, especially since we can recur it with the Witherbloom command. So all in all, very well-rounded deck, but obviously has some weaknesses as well. So let's see if we can put strengths and weaknesses on display. Round 1 is upon us. I'm on the draw here, playing Sultai Beanstalk, and this hand looks fine. Opponent took their first mulligan. So there's something a little bit iffy here about Thoughtseizing turn 1, Lore Unrevealed not being an actual land when it comes to Wasteland, so I'm going to see what happens here. In theory, we could take a turn off, find our second land, Brainstorm, Thoughtseize, Ponder Thoughtseize, that kind of deal. And then before you know it, we're presenting a Murktide Regent. So this has a lot to do with the strategy we're up against. If we have any kind of wiggle room, I like our spot. But then again, Legacy's full of decks that will pressure you early and often. So this hand could either just look awesome 3 turns from now, or we could just be swimming with the fishes in a couple of turns, sideboarding for game 2. Inevitably, that's kind of the weakness of control, right? Because you go, oh yeah, here's Petal. So you go to a tournament, right? You sit down, you play against a random opponent. Okay, so the opponent essentially mulled a 5 here, cracking a Petal to Brainstorm. In theory, that should be good for us, but at the same time, we don't have a Force of Will to shut down our opponent, so they can cook us here if they have some awesome cards. Yeah, so I was just talking about the inherent weaknesses of control. This is exactly why, you know, a proactive deck, let's say you go into a completely unknown metagame, how can you ever build a good control deck for that, right? So the challenge is oftentimes checking enough boxes with control, where something like, I don't know, I oftentimes use Mystic Forge as a good example of who cares what the opponent is playing. I'll just play my plan, right? And then I'll adjust slightly based on the information. Then maybe, you know, you have like one needle, one soul guide, but everything else is, you know, in your plan. That type of deck then becomes very strong. Just in general, just good to understand that any card choice or deck choice is going to be metagame dependent at the end of the day. If everybody played 4 null rods and, you know, main deck consigns and whatever, you couldn't play Mystic Forge, right? If everybody played Blood Moon Back to Basics, Price of Progress, you couldn't play lands. So at the end of the day, it's all about understanding the trends and what does that mean for my favorite deck and how do I tweak to accommodate those trends. And that's essentially what I do and what I love about Magic is that it's not standing still unless you decide that it does, right? But if you always, you know, roll with the punches, I don't know if I'm using that metaphor correctly. If you're always like this dynamic state of always getting new information, always getting inspired, always researching, then you tweak numbers here and there based on that, then I think you're playing high-level Magic. So here's another minus card advantage for the opponent. So Storm strategy. Okay, so I'm dead turn 1 here. I don't like that. Here's Beseech the Mirror. So now the opponent will go and get what exactly? Okay, I guess they get the Yawgmoth's Will card. Okay. So we died turn 1 here against Storm. That's unfortunate. So funnily enough, even Endurance would have been awesome here. Obviously, you need a green card, right? So the opponent can easily finish this off. Ritual, Chrome. And the opponent, obviously, with that hand was just all in, right? So we get cooked here. I mean, I feel like this has happened before, where we just lose to combo out of the blue, and then we thankfully find ways to rally back, which is awesome. So we didn't see any lands out of the opponent. Should I just assume that they're on Ursa Saga? So the cool thing is, Fatal Push is atrocious. Witherbloom Command is probably also atrocious. So let's see. That's the first 6 cards already. And now I guess, yeah, these Murderous Cuts don't do anything, so I add some Vigors, trim my Bowmaster, and I'm here. Is that how I play? I don't think I see any useful card in my sideboard right now. Sometimes I consider putting in, like, actual blank blue cards. Is that going to be better than Bowmaster? Could be. Okay. Maybe I do that. Maybe I add random blue cards here because I'm a 7 Force of Will deck. Okay, I mean, I love my setup here. It's all about surviving the night and then kind of turn the corner with Beanstalk, Bargain, or actually hit them with Murktide. We're up to 3 Wastelands and 2 Vigors, so we don't lose to Saga very often. Okay, I like this setup. You should never apologize for your play speed, I think. This is how Magic Online works with the chess clock. You can do whatever you want for 24 minutes rather, and then just win after that fact. So let's just put a stop on my upkeep here for good measure. I could find a bad ponder here. I do find a bad ponder here. Well, a ponder where I might want, you know, one of the cards. So let's see. Do I want the Force of Will? Am I triple forcing this game? Is that even a thing? So I'm going to cycle this for a land. Okay, so maybe I want to guarantee my blue card at least. What if I get Thought Seized? Do I then want triple force? Maybe I should just take the worst blue card here. Cycle on upkeep. I could also shuffle because these cards are quite bad. and hedge a little bit against me dying to Ursa's Saga. Guarantee the blue card or shuffle. Okay, I guess I'll try and shuffle here and see what happens. I end up with another Force of Will, which is probably not very good right now, because, I mean, what are the chances I'm triple force pitching this game? It's at least a long way down the line. Could be possible if I, you know... Okay, the opponent mills over Brainstorm. What does that tell us? Let's see, like, bad things can happen, right? With triple force, I don't think it will. But let's see. Is this just some... No, it's not. The opponent just plays out all stuff. I wonder, what does that tell me? Okay, so I draw that card, which is decent, but I don't have anything to spend my mana on, so let's see. Should I can consider revealing for Hedge Maze and just developing it, right? And then hope my opponent goes for it and loses to double force. I think that's quite reasonable. So this is a good way to show weakness, basically. And you want to show weakness when you have these cards at the ready. Up the Beanstalk is a great card to draw next turn. So now imagine that I, don't die here. I can jam the Beanstalk. So this is the dream, right? The opponent, I'll have double force after the Thoughtseize. So this is where actual third copy of Force of Will is a good card. All right, so pretty good circumstances. I'm drawing my inevitability card next turn. I don't think my opponent's an Ursa Saga deck based on this mana base, which makes especially Force of Vigor in my deck a lot worse. But I think the cards I cut were just so unexciting. Yeah, like these Bowmasters, so very unexciting. Even if my opponent is on... Okay, so the opponent slows down here win condition-wise. I like that. That's a good play. Expect them to play a land and pass the turn or just pass here. I don't think trying to go off here is the way you want to do it from the side of the opponent. Also, they should ask themselves, which card did I keep on top here? So if they have X-Ray Vision, they want to exhaust my forces before Beanstalk rather than after. But if they know they're losing the fight, that is just so hard to justify. But let me play this up to Beanstalk. Hopefully turn the corner. Draw Force Negation. Not bad. So worth noting is that I'm getting somewhat close to Mystic Sanctuary being a card, but, not really. The opponent has to break through a lot of stuff here. Even if they force the issue on double force, I still have this negation left, and I'm drawing 2 cards. Yeah, that was a good draw, opponent. You're not wrong. So let's see. Brainstorm. I feel like that's totally fine. I'm trying to understand how to lose this game. I probably lose this game to a poorly timed, for me at least, Storm spell. So I'm trying to find basically a win condition to try and close out this game. The opponent did well to Thoughtseize. Oh, they do play Ursa Saga. That is scary. My hand actually loses to Ursa Saga, which is very annoying. Do I go for a land here end of turn? I could see that. So basically, go get Trop. Maybe I can wait and see my draw. I don't think my mana will be under too much pressure. So that card is not ideal. So let me Thoughtseize. I'm actually losing to the Ursa Saga now, so let's see. Yeah, the opponent's not going to Veil. Should I take the Veil? Probably. Abrupt Decay. So let's think here. Abrupt Decay is a card that could kill my Endurance later if I need to block. Is that annoying? I think it could be annoying. So basically what I want to do now is take a card, lower and revealed for Mystic Sanctuary. Put Ponder on top. Like, this is really not ideal. You will take the Uncounterable spell. Yeah, that got me pretty good with that Saga. Yeah, just might lose to that card. So did I have any agency this game? I shuffled a Ponder thinking about this card. Then I later decided I don't think they're running that card. But I'm not sure I had agency after that. Okay, well, that's just what happens, right? If I hedged at the point of any decision, and I feel like it's fine. So the opponent will play out that card because I want as big construct as possible. I think I need to find Force of Vigor to win this game. I don't even think Murktide is big enough. Another Ponder. Does that make sense? I guess it's slightly better. Let's see. That's funny. Okay, well. So let's think about what can I draw? Pushes are out. Yeah, this is getting iffy. Okay, I do find the Wasteland. But the problem is, if I Wasteland that card, my opponent gets a 6/6. Take one hit, 10. Draw the fetch. Take one hit, 4. Fetch. I mean, I think I have to do this, but I think I'm losing the game with counters in hand. Was I supposed to force my own Ponder to, you know, get deeper here? I don't know. Oh, the opponent starts casting cards. That's very, very good for me. So let's counter, pitch, force a will. I'll try and draw. The opponent might veil here. And I think I will happily, you know, do this because I'm losing to the 5/5. I'm drawing into those lands. My opponent successfully clears my hand of forces. I'm getting attacked down to 9. I don't know. I feel like I just got a lifeline. But again, my opponent didn't know that my Ponder was bad. Yeah, let's brainstorm. Here's a Murktide that stabilizes. So how about I play a big Murktide, hold up, consign, and then next turn I brainstorm fetch. Let's think about what this consign is actually doing. Maybe I just get rid of consign. Consign to memory. That is something that stops a storm spell. But the thing is, I'm getting, if my opponent, like, you know, draws, what do I know? Infernal Tutor, Beseech the Mirror. I guess Beseech is uncastable. Also, they wanted to play Cage. Yeah, that's weird. Maybe this consign is not good and I need to dig for better cards. So I go like this. I go Murktide Regent. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, shoot. I forgot about the draw. Okay. So I draw into the consign anyway, which is probably fine. Feel like I should pass the turn. Yeah, okay, this game got hard. That's pretty cool. So now I'm losing to Infernal Tutor after desperately, you know, playing like this. I think it's reasonable. So now I need to find a way to kill my opponent. Let's see. I should probably not draw that land. So let's try and understand if the shuffle is better before or after with Brainstorm. So if I Brainstorm, maybe I should draw. If I draw that land, I have worse cards to put back. Yeah, I think that's the way to play. Okay, so now I cast Brainstorm. Find some solid cards, I guess, so I can put back 2 lands. I don't think I'm cracking this Wasteland, though. Let's see. If I attack for 8, I can... My opponent's then at 10, and then this card is lethal, so I like that. So maybe just develop the Wasteland, attack for 8. And yeah, now it's time for my opponent to draw an action spell, or actually think we got the job done here, which is hilarious. Let's see. Hold up Endurance. Hold up that card. Pass. Am I wasting my opponent because the game's about to be over? 1, 2, 3, 4 mana. Yeah, I think I'm wastelanding my opponent because Besiege the Mirror is a magic card. Pass the turn. I wanted to draw a 4-drop, right? They only have 3 mana. So now I'm taking the damage down to 3, and I'm trying to finish off my opponent. Let's see if this works. They pass. I will cast Endurance. Target my opponent and attack for 11. So looks like I'm forcing a game 3 here. All right. All right. So Urza's Saga was sneaking up on me there. So that just confirms I like my sideboard. I also forgot that Consign to Memory is even an additional hedge for Urza's Saga. So it would have been quite disastrous if I lost to that Karta game. Yeah, I mean, I like everything that's going on here. I might need a force in my opener, but I guess some hand with like Thoughtseize will be fine as well. But yeah, let's hope to see a 7 with a force. That would just be a solid way to start. Yeah, I can't complain about this. I have force if my opponent has an explosive hand. And then I'm Thoughtseizing my opponent. I do have to think about Veil of Summer, though. Veil of Summer is very, very good against Thoughtseize. It kind of prices me into forcing the Veil, and, you know, that's just good exchange for the opponent, no matter how you slice it. So the opponent's also on a keep 7 here. Let's see if that means Resiliency or Speed. Okay, it looks like Resiliency. Holding up Veil here is so annoying. I draw Negation, which doesn't help me right now. So yeah, I have to cast the Thoughtseize and hope they don't have Veil of Summer. So I'm force pitching what if this happens? Probably the Ponder, even though it's not my favorite activity in the world. Guess I want to give myself the chance to draw a blue card. So now we get to pick the best card out of my opponent's hand, which, funnily enough, isn't all that great. So I'll probably just take Dark Ritual here. That's the card that lets them explode the most. Let's take Dark Ritual. It's kind of weird, but right now I'm shields down. Let's say I had a blue card. You know, I would actually want my opponent to explode. Here comes Urza's Saga, which, funnily enough, presents a problem once more. And I draw Endurance. So now I have to pass. Bad news. Yeah, it's just kind of bad news here. Let's see if the opponent can find a land. If they don't find a land, I'll have my spot. They do find a land. So now I don't love my spot. Let me go and get a Hedge Maze here. Here's Hedge Maze. Here's up the Beanstalk. Is that card good right now? This card could be the reason I get back into the game. So let's see. How does this work out? My opponent will make a token. That's a 1-1. Then they're going to make another token. That's a 2-2. Then they're going to tutor. That's a 3-3. So for now, the endurances are holding the fort, but I need to start playing them next turn cycle. The opponent is bringing the vibes here. So me putting up the Beanstalk into the graveyard is certainly a sign of weakness. Also, just small detail here. If you're in the shoes of my opponent, you need to crack this fetch before I get a main phase. Because if I just play a Wasteland here, I pass, then I can respond to the fetch end of turn, right? And kill off the Saga. So just good habits here. Okay, so the opponent makes another token, which is annoying. I'm going to call the bluff here on the needle. I don't want to show them that I have endurances in hand. So if I get needled here, it's one of the biggest blowouts on camera. So now the opponent sends the construct and I am able to eat it, which is quite good for me. I'm going to send back my opponent's graveyard, I believe. Yeah, that's probably fine. They might run like threshold cards and, you know, that kind of stuff. So here's a brainstorm that I doubt will hit anything smart that can help the opponent here. They have known Abrupt Decay Tendrils Ritual in hand. Natural Tendrils is not nothing. So this is why it's especially important that I start eating those constructs. Imagine they just had a random petal. I would be in big trouble here. Then I would have to take the damage. This was outsized, and the natural tendrils was waiting around the corner. So this game is going to be very, very complicated, no matter how you slice it. I think what I'm doing here is, if I draw a blue card, I'll start attacking. So let's get those cards back. Let's go to blocks. Worth noting, Opal is off, and that's why the opponent brainstormed. Okay. This is cool. Let's see what this is. Okay, so the opponent's going to tendrils me for 12 here. Very cool. Okay. Or is it 14? No, 12. Okay. So with the one card on top of the deck being Abrupt Decay, this is kind of scary, right? So now I can't attack because Decay is uncounterable. So maybe I blow out my opponent here. Maybe I blow out my opponent here because they will kill my endurance and try and attack for lethal. No, they're not. Never mind. Okay. They have Abrupt Decay in hand. They could have gone for lethal but didn't, which is obviously a good choice. So now I have to think about if I want... I don't think I want those cards in my opponent's deck. I actually want that tendrils to be there. So my opponent's up to 30, and I have to start the climb here. Here's Murktide Regent. That is a great way to start a climb. So now I can attack with both, deploy Murk. That's my blocker. Okay. So now my opponent will probably take the damage because they seem to have a plan with that Abrupt Decay. Do I brainstorm before? I don't think so. I will tap out for a Regent. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pass the turn to my opponent. I know about the Abrupt Decay. Maybe Endurance just dies in a turn here. Oh, what happened with the Abrupt Decay? This is scary. I thought I had my opponent's hand read. Okay. What happened to that decay? I guess they just drew it now? Like the second... So the last card is now Abrupt Decay, I think. I'm not sure. Okay, I may have lost track here of my opponent's stuff. That could cost me. This Wasteland doesn't do anything. I should probably keep it for a Saga. Let's try and understand what's going on here. Abrupt Decay on the new Endurance will be lethal. So how do I maximize damage here? I probably attack with... for 8? I'd put my opponent at what, 14? Attack for 8. Stay back with 1 Endurance. So then I lose to second Abrupt Decay. Am I happy with that? Well, I'm not happy. Will I accept that? The alternative is attacking for 6 and just keep the Murktide at defense. Maybe that's the play, so I don't lose to like a bad draw out of my opponent. I want to lose to a good draw out of my opponent, not a bad draw. So let's see, 6 now. Difference between 6 and 8 is hard to understand. Let's see. Opponent keeps taking the damage. I'll play a Wasteland and I'll pass the turn. Because right now I don't care about double Abrupt Decay. And I can't keep my opponent off Beseech. So now I think my opponent has 1 more draw to go and get it. So let's see here. Play Endurance. Still keep the cards in my opponent's deck because I don't want them to natural draw tendrils. Okay, so now here's the decay that I didn't think about, or, you know, lost track of, I guess. So that decay is gone. I draw that card. So I need to kill my opponent in 2 swings now. How do I do that? I get my opponent to 10. Yeah, that's the thing. That's not even lethal. My opponent could take that damage and block next turn. Yeah, this is tough. This is tough. But I don't think I have a choice. I think I have to keep this steady Endurance attack, not lose to Abrupt Decay. And then I should negate a lot of things. Okay, so with my opponent being at 10, is this a time to Wasteland Underground Sea? This could be the time, because I don't want my opponent's cantrips to be, you know, live draws. I want them to invest a pedal, if that's the case. I guess they have the Opal. Maybe that was a bad Wasteland. There is a... Well, let's see. Maybe it's too late for Ursa Saga. Yeah, I think that was a good play. It is too late for Ursa Saga, so my opponent kind of needs to storm me out. Okay, so playing that card gives them 1 uncounterable. I mean, I guess if you have a removal spell for the Murktide Regent, you got me. What would that even be? Outsmarted you. So your last card is another Veil? True story. Opponent is reflecting on what they could have done differently, and attacking the first construct token there was certainly a play I needed them to make in order to win this game. Yeah, that was cool. The opponent was at a lot of life. They tendrilled me down to 3, and then I have to thread the needle from there. So, yeah, sweet games. Sneaky Endurance. Send tweet. Yeah, the opponent didn't think about the Endurance and got punished. That's just how Magic works these days, right? If there's some flash threat, yeah, they have that card. Yeah, that's just... I'm happy that I called that one. Because if I counter this one, then this one cantrips, like, and then the opponent has a shot. But yeah, not this time. Not this time. That was a cool one. That's exactly what you want when you're playing Control, right? That every single small detail. Yeah. We got it, opponent. 3-2 sad face. You shouldn't be sad about that. 60% win rate is yeah, that's very, very strong. You should keep it up if you're having a win rate like that. All right, let's play some more Magic. All right, guys, allow me to interrupt the video briefly here. Thanks so much for the space. I just want to talk about my newest initiative here. So obviously, I want to be the place to be. My Metafy should be the place to be if you care the slightest about Eternal Magic. So I'm trying to do my absolute best, delivering the good stuff to you guys week in and week out. So look at this. The next coming months, I will be hosting guest primers from the absolute experts of all the archetypes that I could think about when it comes to Legacy. First one, JPA on Sneak Attack. Incredible. Next up, not necessarily this order, Jujubin on Delver, double Eternal Weekend champion. Sprouts on Lands, multiple challenge winner. Futurism on 12 post. He's played the deck for years, works on this deck weekly. Tony Scapone on Storm, Mr. Combo. Newton, straight from the cradle. He will be talking about his favorite black-green cradle deck, all the updates. This is the place to be. Larson, Eternal Weekend champion, European Legacy Masters champion, Showcase champion, Mr. Breakfast. That will be a banger, probably the one I'm looking forward to the most personally. We'll have Morsa on Energy. He put energy strategies on the map in Legacy, and he'll share all his insights. And then we have Harain on Dreadnought, Mr. Dreadnought. I'm too excited for this one. I don't know what to tell you guys. This is me trying to promote being a book smart baron. This is a $15 subscription that will give you access to all content, all my tournaments. You will have access to my community, all of these premium articles, everything that I'm putting out in the future, everything from the past. It's just going to be one click away with that subscription. So highly recommend. Next up, we have Ecoternal Weekend coming up. Ecoternal Weekend, that's also a fun name. But what is it aside from that? It's going to be an Eternal Weekend warm-up tournament. Two of those, make that two of those. We're going to be having Kai Sawatarix making a customized painting for the winner. Let's say you win with your favorite deck. You can tell him, yeah, I want it like this, like that. And he will execute your ideas. So these are going to be the details. September 6th is going to be the Legacy version. September 20th is going to be the Vintage one. It's going to be a Swiss tournament in one go, and you can check out the rest of the prize structure here. I can't wait to see you over there. If you want to save a little bit on your first month, you can use code ECO50. It would mean a lot to me to see you over there. I'll invite you to the Discord, and hopefully it's going to be the best early Christmas gift you give to yourself this year. Thanks so much for the space. Let's get back to the video. Alrighty, round 2. I'm playing the Beanstalk deck, and I think maybe I'll be on the play for round 3, but this is just another deck where so many bad things can happen for you if you're on the draw. So let's see if we can make this Endurance be a difference maker here. Orsa will, Endurance, those kind of cards are good at making up for being on the draw. Ooh, this will be tough. No matter if this is Cloudpost or Mystic Forge, I think I'm in a bad shape against that deck. Thoughtseize is a sweet draw, though. So it's good against hands that only has, like, you know, mana and one Haymaker. And it's less good against hands like this. So let's think about this. The opponent can play Karn the Great Creator next turn, and I'm very soft to that. Okay, so the opponent is a member of my community. That's super awesome to see. So I think I have to take the Karn here. And then I hope my opponent slows down with Saga. And that the K command is somewhat beatable. Yeah, this is really tough. Because I only have 2 Wastelands in my deck. The opponent slows down with Ursa's Saga. They'll develop the pedal here to play around me being Reanimator so they can K command for 1. Here's up the Beanstalk. I don't know. Do I have that luxury? I'll try. I'll try that. Yeah, Mystic Forge is not what you want to see with this deck. They just put too much pressure on your Wastelands and your forces. at the very least, if I start drawing cards, I have like removal spells, right? Force is a very, very good card. Can I get to Murktide here? Third card, fourth card. I can't. So I probably accept a beating here and bargain, and then next turn is the key turn. Here's a construct. So for decks like this, it's basically because I play the Witherbloom command that I'm kind of priced into having Wastelands. But you can argue decks like this, you know, you would have been better off having just a couple of dress downs. So I don't know. I'll try and think about that, because the value of wastelanding your opponent, you know, over and over, like with Witherbloom, is decent. Okay, so my opponent gets rid of that card. I'm not scared about that tutor target. Unfortunately, Endurance is one off from eating a construct. Let's see what I can find on this bargain. Like, I am resolving a dig through time and cantripping at the same time, so let's see. The opponent's passing. Let's cast End Step Bargain. I need removal spells, which is kind of funny against Mystic Forge. Lauren Reveal is bad. Okay, so push is good. And I guess I just take a random land here. This could come in handy without being incredible. So maybe I need... Let's think about this, because these cards will go to the yard. So now I will push a construct and try and play a Murktide this turn. I think the fetch might help me more. So let's do this. Draw. So it's somewhat easy for my opponent to sniff this card coming, but I do need to, you know, have a bigger Murktide than, you know, the constructs. I think Brainstorming here is awesome because it fixes my hand so well. Okay. These cards are not exciting, so maybe I put away Hedge Maze and, I don't know, one Lauren Revealed? That's probably super reasonable. So let me fetch. So my opponent could easily pop the graveyard here. Okay, so my opponent pops the graveyard, playing around another Murktide Regent, which is a good play. So now let's see what I go and get. I probably go and get Underground Sea, and then let's see how I play the game. Do I want to kill a Petal? What happens if I think I can clear the board here. Does that work? So I go... Well, let's read this card. If I go minus on one of the constructs, kill the Petal, and then I push the other, I think that works. So let me do that. Witherbloom command, that one. So kill, minus. So now it's up to the opponent if they want to fire a K command. So that works. Pushing that card. I just have a single force, so K command for 2 I think is fine. My opponent's life total is not impressive here. Plan is to force an action spell, dig for another force, play Murktide, kill my opponent in one swing. Okay, that was a cool turn. Sometimes threading the needle with weird modes on command and stuff like that is how you play. Let's see if my opponent liked that card. They didn't like those cards, so they got a fresh one. So mana we can beat. Action, not so much. Here's Karn the Great Creator. So let's force a will that card, pitching Ponder. Or should I pitch Lore Unrevealed? I think I'll pitch... So let's see. Lore Unrevealed could be my avenue to Sanctuary. Get back Force a Will. I think that's good enough. Okay, so let's do this to draw a card. So now my opponent needs an action card, and they don't have it. Okay, nice. So let's see. Draw another up the Beanstalk. So let's try and understand this. If I go Cycle Lore Unrevealed, Sanctuary the Force on top, play Beanstalk, play this one to draw 2. Yeah, I think that's what I have to do. Does that even work? Because that's only my 4th card in the graveyard. Yeah, that would deplete my graveyard a little bit. Okay, so that doesn't work. So maybe we go... Yeah, Magic is so hard. Let's go Brainstorm, because that card is like neutral with Murktide Regent. So putting back, I guess, a Beanstalk and Underground Sea, is that good? Can I get to the Force of Will this turn and Murktide? That's basically the play that I need to make. Can I, if I play this and I play another Brainstorm, let's see. So I get rid of a Beanstalk and a land, I guess. Then I have 4 cards in the graveyard. So I think this works. If I go Lore Unrevealed, Mystic Sanctuary, play Mystic Sanctuary, put Force of Will on top. But I'll run out of blue cards this way, though. I need to hit on my Brainstorm. So maybe what I should do here is target, hold priority, Brainstorm now. No, that doesn't work. Right? Let's see. I Brainstorm now, put back 2 cards. Yeah, then this will be the top card. Okay, so Brainstorm now. Check the Gathering. Blue card. I do hit a blue card. The Bayou is bad. Beanstalk is bad. So now I'll put Force of Will on top of the deck. I'll have exactly 5 cards in the graveyard, and I'll Murktide into that force. Ah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. I had to really thread the needle here. Okay, so now I have damage in the air. My opponent's Ancient Tombs are terrible now. They have 1 activation out of those, right? So let's see. Here's Basalt Monolith, a card I don't care about. It's just mana at the end of the day, right? Wow, that was super cool. So here's another Beanstalk. I will play that card. Up the Beanstalk. I guess I just draw the Bayou and it doesn't really matter, but you know. Let's see. I didn't show Wasteland yet. Maybe I should show Wasteland to get my opponent to play Scared the other games. So if I play Wasteland here, doesn't change any, like this Endurance is not going to matter, I feel like. Let's play that and attack for 8. So now my opponent needs 2 big things, or I win the game. Let's see what this is. That's Mystic Forge. So now I have to ask myself, did my opponent slow roll an action card all along? And I think my clear answer to that is no, they didn't. So let's force it with that card. All right. We won game 1 against Mystic Forge with very, very tight play. Also, the opponent played well, right? The opponent cracked the spell bomb at the correct moment. And then I had to play very well to get out of that situation. So let's see. I have a ton of good cards here. I have a ton of bad cards over here. So can't be that bad, right? So is Witherbloom Command good? I guess Recurring Wasteland is solid. I have 13 cards over here that I don't really like, which is funny. Then I have a bunch of cards here that I do like. So now I have to play with 2 additional cards out of this pile. Let's see. Bowmasters is not great. It's playable. There are some spots where, you know, they've taken a hit from Murktide and they need to win with 1 ring, and then this card ends up being a thing. Then there's Endurance, which is mainly a green pitch, and I think that's not good enough. Then there's Murderous Cut, which at the very least is a removal spell that triggers Beanstalk. And then there's Fatal Push, which is a, you know, fetch, kill a Fleshraker play. So maybe it's like 1 cut, 1 push. Would I ever push anything? I mean, for Saga tokens, I think I have enough time to build Graveyard, but who knows? Maybe it's just 2 pushes. And that makes the sideboard plan, you know, not ideal. But I mean, what can you do? I mean, Hydroblast and Carpet are awesome. So again, we could... Okay, so maybe 1 push and 1 random blue card. Maybe that's good. Okay, I'll try that. Mystic Forge, what a deck. Okay, so this hand has a Force, and this hand has, hopefully, at some point, a bargain I can pitch to this Vigor so that I can blow up 2 things, right? If my opponent goes Saga Pass, I think I have to start cantripping for a green card. Here's Ancient Tomb. And then I have a relatively fast Murktide here, but I'm losing to like back-to-back Haymaker. Classic situation, and something that the Mystic Forge deck is very good at doing. Okay, land pass here out of the opponent. This smells like a tap land to me. Okay, Disruptor Flute here. I think this card is totally reasonable. So now the opponent wants to shut off Wasteland. So let's see if that is going to help me or hurt me, because I did reveal the Wasteland last game, basically with this in mind, right? Okay. I see you, opponent. I see you. So I think I should develop a tap land with the intention to next turn dig for a green card with Ponder, Vigor my opponent, and Wasteland my opponent. Okay, let's try that. That's always a good one. Disruptor Fluting, and then, I mean, that's you know, well played to my opponent, and I brought this upon myself, so... Okay, so my opponent has a very, very distinct plan here. And here's a Fleshraker that I can do nothing about. Scary stuff. Pedal. So they're attacking me on a lot of angles here. A lot of angles. I'll be in trouble if I don't find the green card now. Here's Consigned to Memory. Okay, that works. So maybe I should slow down a little bit here and go... How do you feel about Brainstorm? Maybe that's not the move. Maybe that's for next turn. Maybe this is a Ponder turn so that if I do hit the green card, I can still kill those 2 things, waste my opponent off the Tomb, and I should be in a good spot. Okay, let's take for a green card. This is not a green card. So now the question becomes... Maybe that Force and Negation is going to be good. Maybe I don't have that luxury, actually, the more I think about it. Maybe I don't have that luxury. Let's think about this, because this is, like, super important. If I get this wrong, I lose this game. What if I draw Brainstorm with the intention to pitch one Brainstorm, cast another Brainstorm to get back into the game? I consign so that I don't lose to constructs. And then my plan is to play a Murktide and basically play Murktide versus Fleshraker. Ponder's first card in the yard. Forcing something is second card in the yard. But consigning is third card in the yard. So I can actually play Murktide Region next turn. Without brainstorming. Okay, I'll try this. I'll try and take the negation here and see if it works. So, play like this, pass. So actually, let's see. There's a trigger that I want to stop. Here's a tropical, I believe is better. That would make Shelter's Edict a poor draw. And maybe Beanstalk is already my fodder for Vigor. Okay, so that actually pulls me in the direction of Underground Sea. Okay, that's cool. Let's consign that trigger, because I'm losing to the constructs. Now I have the intention to negation with Brainstorm. So I give myself the chance to spike another blue card on the next draw step to pair with this negation. So I'm, in theory, beating back-to-back Haymakers with this draw. Here's Monolith. My opponent, sometimes you just have to accept. Your opponent has infinite mana, so we're losing to stuff like Ugin, which is a very annoying card these days. Here's Pithing Needle. I don't think this matters. I'm going to let my opponent have this card as well. If I'm just, like, I'm trying to set up a situation where it's Murktide versus Fleshraker. And I'm fairly confident I'm winning that race. Only problem is, if my opponent doesn't present as force target, I can't cast the Murktide next turn. So, I don't know. I don't think I'm supposed to force a bad spell for that to happen. So if I can draw a fetch or brainstorm into a fetch, I'm in business. Okay. Here comes something juicy, I feel like. Okay, so this is a big K command before I untap for more consigns. So I love that. If my opponent plays this card on my turn, I'm in trouble. So I love to see this. So force pitch brainstorm. Opponent's left with one card. I do draw the blue card, and it's even the Hydroblast. Wow. The Hydroblast, the last minute edition, coming in clutch. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. I'm not out of the woods yet, but that is a very, very good start. So now the opponent is there with a tap Monolith. If they ever tap Ancient Tomb, oh, I guess they just go get an untapper here. Never mind. Okay, so my opponent's doing good on mana. I need to fade my opponent having two Haymakers, essentially. Really threading the needle here. This is a very cool match to have on camera. A lot of small things came together here, and I needed to dig deep to find some of these plays. Oh, by the way, this Sultai deck is a deck that I worked on a couple of weeks ago when I published the 2 articles with 5 decks each that I thought was very competitive in the metagame, even with Reanimator on top. So that's pretty cool. By the way, this is an unblockable, so unblockable key. So in theory, some bad things can happen later on, but let's see. The opponent has 2 cards. Another key. That's all goody. So now they just have 1 card. And I'm winning this race. Come on, one time. One-time dealer. So they untap. Let's see if they actually have a play out of it. They're just untapping for good measure. Don't Ugin me, bro. Okay, they don't Ugin me, bro. They can't attack. I put them to 8. Lauren revealed the draw. So let's see here. Let's go. Oh, shoot. I misplayed here. Okay. Yeah, I misplayed here. I was not supposed to go shields down there. That was a very bad play. In theory, my opponent could have timed me there with a K command. That was not good. Yeah. Bad play. Okay, so it worked out. My opponent's at 8. They have to finish me off here through... I think that card is too late. So now the opponent can attack for 2. That puts me to 10. Then I attack them to 2. Let me attack my opponent down to 2 life, and then I'm gonna Lauren revealed for second trop. Play second trop. Now I have Force of Vigor. So I feel like I should upkeep the Force of Vigor onto Saga and Monolith. Pass, still holding up negation. Now it's their turn. I still have negation. Kill. Kill. This puts them in a pickle mana-wise. And I have a negation. I think I did it. Wow. That was a sick, sick, sick match. That is just so cool to have on camera. Everything just, like, me drawing that Hydro after last minute adding it as a random blue card is just, like, that's the dream, right? And now the opponent has 3 mana. Yep. This is over. That was super sweet. Here's Beseiju. What's the opponent's last card? Karn the Great Creator. Let me go ahead and negate that card. And that's all she wrote. Yeah, this is this brings out all the good emotions here. I guess, yeah, I'm just overwhelmed right now. This match had it all. And I feel like if I don't play at a very, very high level, I'm just swimming with the fishes. Like, I needed so big awareness. I needed to get lucky. I realized which buttons I had to press. I realized that if I'm winning this game, it should be some standoff between Fleshraker pings and Murktide attacks. So yeah, planning goes a long way in high-level Magic, so I hope you enjoyed that one. All right, let's play one more. All right, round 3. Thanks for sticking with me. I just had to have a little break here after playing the first 2 rounds. Had a little bit of a coaching session, had some lunch, but let's try and finish strong here. I'm on the draw with my Bug Beans deck, and my opponent's on a mulligan. This hand is very well rounded. I'm good against combo. I'm good against creatures. So with with Bowmasters being a little bit of a stuff in the middle that maybe is good against creatures, but it's just like serviceable. It clocks Ancient Tomb decks. If I'm lucky, I kill a creature. If I'm lucky, I catch some cantrips. This is just likely to be a serviceable card in this hand. My opponent's on a mull to 5, so contrary to the other games where my opponent's on a mulligan, I'm actually, I have the force of will, basically. So let's see here. Here's Personal Tutor. So my opponent is playing Doomsday. So in theory, their hand could now be Dark Ritual, Force blue card. But I'm not in a position to worry about that. So I think I should play Mr. Rainforest and play around Daze. So I can't beat Force blue card, but I can beat Daze. So let's see. So my opponent does not have Ritual Doomsday Force blue card. They can still have Veil, Bluster, stuff like that. So now the opponent has to realize if their odds are getting better or worse from here. A classic combo problem. Dark Ritual. I think with this tank, I don't think I'm getting countered back. I think this works. One card in hand, and Force Will onto the Doomsday. That's kind of what you sign yourself up for with, you know, mulliganing to essentially 4 with the personal tutor. Let me go and get a Hedge Maze, and I think I'm gonna play Bargain is a good card because I don't expect my opponent to refill or to rebarrel since they tutored for that Doomsday. So what does this tell me? I think I should cast Bowmaster now to be better against days off the top. Maybe I let my opponent surveil here and then I do it. Yeah. Okay, so I gave away my plan a little bit here. That was not smart. What I should have done was play Misty, pass, let this happen, and then slam the Bowmaster, so I didn't tell my opponent I was on a Bowmaster color combination. So they put a land into the graveyard, so the last card is not Doomsday. I like that. It'd be Murktide Region, and I'm in trouble. Okay, it wasn't Murktide Region, and I'm not in trouble. I like not being in trouble. So now I will bargain on my opponent's upkeep. Pass. I will fetch green to set up for future endurance, which is a good card in the matchup. Green, black, blue. Cast the bargain. My opponent just drew the days, so be it. Okay, they're jamming Brainstorm into Bowmaster here. Yeah. Okay, so Turbo Doomsday. Love these. This card is fine. This card is fine. This card is fine. So we have some easy additions. So Turbo Doomsday is less likely to be on Timios. So let's... These 6, I guess these 8 are bad. Yeah, these 8 are bad. So Carpet. So maybe I can get rid of Island if I add 2 carpets. I think that's reasonable. And then I could add these cards. This is a lot of consigns. Am I supposed to hedge for a creature plan instead of having this many consigns? So how would I do that? Probably by having 2 Murderous Cuts in the deck. Is that better than Sheldur's Edict? It's probably slightly better than Sheldur's Edict. So maybe I need to do like this, and then like this. Then Wasteland is not that great, but it's serviceable. So I'm trimming a little bit. I keep my Bowmasters. Endurance is live. Yeah, these consigns are not super impressive, but I am a 7-4 deck. So they're not terrible either, and they can help in some compact Doomsday scenarios. Just 2 Murderous Cuts, hedging for the creature plan. But I could hedge further. The thing is, even just a card like Barrowwolf is negated by a big Murktide. In chum block with Bowmasters. I think this is fine. But yeah, this is certainly the space where a deck like Doomsday has the wiggle room to outmaneuver you a little bit. So, solid opener. I have a force. I can cast turn 1 Ponder. If I find my black source, I'm loving life. So let's cast Ponder. Can't keep these cards, I feel like, because if I do that, I'm drawing 2 of them, then I cast the Brainstorm, and I kind of have to hit on that one. Let's see. Is that better? Because I do kind of secure winning a counter war. Okay, maybe I talk myself into that being the case. So let's say I have to force twice. on this next turn. Like, that is not unthinkable. And I want to draw the Brainstorm. Maybe have this underneath. Maybe it's the Force of Will. So I go Force of Will, Brainstorm. Yeah, let's try this. And then I can look with Ponder next turn at 2 new cards. So I basically look at 3 cards for the land. And if I get to the land, I'm doing well. But I'm securing that I don't just lose to, you know, Ritual Doomsday. I was about to say I'm secretly hoping for that confrontation. So the opponent shuffles their library. And here's a duress. I will let this duress resolve. My opponent has 5 cards, so if that is a Doomsday with protection, probably isn't with the way the opponent played that one. So now, let me try and ponder into that coveted land. Okay, there's the coveted land. So which card do I mill and which card do I draw? I probably mill over the bargain. Is that true? Mill over the bargain to draw this card. Okay. I think that's reasonable. Mill over the bargain. Draw another force. Hope that... So the thing is, if my opponent like forces the issue now into double force, I will draw naked force that does nothing. Which is bad, but a few turns from now, that will turn any blue card into a decent draw, right? So now I'm scared about Baragoyf. Because I don't have the, you know, I don't have the black mana for the Murderer's Cut. If my opponent doesn't go for it this turn, I feel like I kind of turned the corner. Okay, so my opponent is looking to Doomsday next turn with 4 cards left. So that could be double force, and I could be in big trouble. Let's see. I think what I like to do here is cast the Brainstorm because I have stuff like Land Thoughtseize that would be useful. I just have some stuff that's useful. Okay. This is outrageously bad, so I put back those 2, I develop a tap land, and I pass. I just feel like when my opponent tutored for that card, it's just them saying that they have this, you know, this fight under control. So here comes Doomsday. Let me force a negation. Because I have 2 bricks on top, remember? The opponent's trying to fluster me here. And I will force the Doomsday. I just feel like my opponent could see this coming. Okay, so now I have 2 turns of nothing. My opponent knows about 2 of those cards. So I don't even know what I'm hoping for here. I guess I'm hoping for my opponent to play a creature and that I find a black source underneath. So they forced the issue. Because that was a good exchange for the opponent in theory, right? Petal, Doomsday, Bluster. I guess Personal Tutor also counts. So 4 for 4. And I have the better top decks like, you know, Beanstalk and Murktide and stuff. Endurance is not bad. Endurance is certainly not bad. So now I have to think about, is that a hate card or is that a clock? I will treat it as a clock, but I think it's very close. Here's Endurance. I will target my opponent and actually do it because of, you know, the threat of Murktide. 4 cards in hand.
Let's see what this is on the end step. Okay, sure. So they're obviously the worst control deck. This is very good for me. So now I can play Carpet of Flowers, change main phase, and slam 2 Bowmasters to really put the heat on the opponent. Yes, black. Cast this card. One more. So now, if they Doomsday down to 6, they will be in trouble. Draw-wise. Murderous Cut has their creatures blocked. This Fatal Push is all goody. Is this to cast a Ponder? Oh, it's cast a Brainstorm. Sheesh. Alright, so my opponent needs to get super lucky here. Let's see if they manage to do that. No concession yet. Opponent's now at 9. The Doomsday would put them to 4. Yeah, I think this is all she wrote, but let's see if I'm right about that. Let's attack for 6. I guess they can still have more removal spells for Bowmasters or whatever the case may be. 3, 2 with the fetch, so it's like now or never for the opponent. Okay, they concede here. Yeah, that was just a pretty cool display of having a Force of Will in the blind, then winning game 1, then having a serviceable hand, the opponent not having the best hand, and then them getting into a corner where they felt like they had to force the issue with the personal tutor for Doomsday, Crack Pedal, Fluster, force the issue. And I'm lucky that my 2 time walks that I had on top for my opponent didn't end up costing me, I guess. Bowmasters slamming the door here being just an annoyance for any Brainstorm Ponder deck. All right, that gets us to the end of the video. Nobody was able to take down the Bug Beanstalk deck today. I had a ton of fun playing this. I think I made some very, very good plays, especially in round 2. I think this deck has potential if you like control. I mean, don't stop believing. There's still hope. Every new challenge sees, new decks do well, whether it's aggro, whether it's control. Just a ton of new archetypes actually managed to rack up debates. So yeah, keep up the hard work, keep having fun with the game, and keep tuning into this channel because I'll be posting regularly. So yeah, see you next time. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, guys.